truth behind Jimin's return. What really happened? When the news of Jimin's return to the world stage spread widely, euphoria swept ARMY around the world. Many were relieved, many cried with happiness, many did not believe that this moment had finally really arrived. Jimin has indeed returned, but the road to get to this point has not been easy. During his military service, Jimin had faced the darkest times that not many people knew. He had decided to completely shut down from the entertainment world, thinking about leaving the stage that had been his home. In silence, he wrestles with himself, fighting with fear, with the burden of expectation, and with a longing that sometimes feels painful. Some of his colleagues in the barracks had told how Jimin often looked pensive alone at night, staring blankly at the dark sky without stars. Not infrequently, he spent time in a corner of the barracks with his little notebook, writing who knows what. She smiled as if only she understood the meaning of the words. When others joke or take a break, Jimin actually withdraws more often, as if he is looking for something that is missing from him. One of the closest sources revealed that Jimin had experienced a moment of crisis, felt lost in direction, and questioned whether he still deserved to return to stand on the stage he had left. The burden of being part of BTS, the largest group in the world, is not something light. He was afraid of disappointing those who were waiting for him. He was afraid that if he returned later, it would not be Jimin who had been loved by the ARMY all this time. He was afraid that he had changed too much, but behind that fear, there was one thing that kept illuminating his path: letters from the ARMY that never stopped coming, little voices that whisper that he is missed, that he is still awaited, that his presence still matters. The letters become Jimin's loyal companions on lonely nights in the barracks, becoming a force that slowly regrows his hope. Not only that, Jungkook becomes a figure who tirelessly continues to approach him, sending messages, sometimes without words. It was enough with a simple emoji or a photo of a meal, but Jimin knew that behind those little messages, Jungkook was trying to pull him out of the darkness. Their relationship, which had been so close, became a savior in Jimin's fragile times. Jungkook knew it didn't take many words to let Jimin know that he was never really alone. One night in the barracks, Jimin makes a decision that changes everything. That night, he sat alone outside, staring at the sky that began to turn orange. He wrote one sentence in his little book: "I want to go back, even though I'm not perfect." That simple sentence became the beginning of his new journey. He began to build confidence again, slowly but surely. He contacted his management team, had a heart-to-heart talk, expressing his desire to prepare for a comeback once his service was over, but its preparation is not as easy as turning the palm of the hand. He had suffered a minor injury during training, making his schedule delayed. He also had to go through a period of mental recovery that was not short. Many nights he awoke with anxiety, wondering if he could still dance as vividly as he used to, if his voice was still as warm as it used to be. But in every doubt, he always remembered who was waiting for him. Jimin decides to return not with the ambition to be perfect, but with the courage to be his new self, who may be more fragile, yet much more honest. He prepares songs that tell a lot about his feelings during this time. One of them is the song he performed specially at BTS Festa 2025, a song that he wrote himself, contains expressions of longing, fear, and hope that he had kept tightly. As Jimin stood on the Festa stage, many saw his eyes glaze over. Not because he was nervous, but because he knew that this was a meeting that had barely happened. He knows how thin the line is that separates him from the decision to leave forever from the world of entertainment. And now, when he finally returned, he didn't want to waste the opportunity. Behind the warm glow of the lights, behind the smile he showed ARMY, there was a long journey full of wounds. But it was precisely the injuries that made him come back stronger. He no longer wants to be perfect. It just wants to be real. Jimin's relationship with other BTS members also became deeper after everything he went through. RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, V, and especially Jungkook are always by his side, providing unconditional support. In a moment rarely seen in public, they gathered after the festa was over, sitting in a circle, chat casually, but occasionally clasping each other's hands as if strengthening each other. They know the journey of each of them is not easy, but together they remain the safest harbor. After the Festa, Jimin restarted his activities. He recorded new songs, took part in various training sessions, and slowly got used to the busy schedule again. This time, however, he lived it all with a calmer heart. He was at peace with himself. He no longer seeks perfection, but presence. He wants to be fully present for the army that has been fully present for him. In an emotional interview, Jimin revealed, "I thought maybe I was done, but I haven't. I still want to sing. I still want to see you guys. I still want to laugh and cry with you." Those words are proof that Jimin's return is not just a professional routine. This is the call of his heart. He returned not because of demands, not because of obligations, but because of such great love that he could not ignore. Now, as he returns stage by stage, Jimin walks with steady steps, bringing his whole story, all his wounds and hopes, and sharing them with the army in the most beautiful way, through music and sincere smiles. After Jimin's return, the world slowly felt a difference that not everyone was able to express in words. Something has changed in his way of smiling, in his way of waving to the fans, in his way of speaking to the media. He remains the same Jimin, but the maturity and sincerity behind his every move feels much deeper, more rooted. He was like someone who had just conquered a great storm, then reappeared with a calm that enveloped him. Army began to realize that every word Jimin said on stage was not just a platitude. They could feel the deep gratitude Jimin felt, how he really considered every second on stage as a miracle that he almost let go. In every concert he went to after his return to the music world, Jimin seemed to carry the burden he had let go, and he performed lighter, more alive, like someone who has finally found his biggest reason to keep going. Among the concerts, there was one moment that made such an impression. At the fourth concert in the series of his world tour, in a city that has always been a special place for BTS, Jimin suddenly stopped the song he was singing. The atmosphere of the stadium became quiet. Everyone stared at him with confusion and anxiety. Jimin smiled slightly, looked down for a moment, then raised the microphone and said, "I just want you to know I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for you. If I had followed my former thoughts, I might have disappeared. But you kept me going." The sentence was met with cheers and tears from the fans. It was the moment when Jimin opened the deepest side of himself, letting thousands of pairs of eyes see that he had almost given up, but the love of the army became the reason why he chose to keep going. In that second, the entire stadium turned into an ocean of light, and Jimin smiled while wiping away the tears that flowed slowly down his cheeks. It is not shy. He does not try to restrain his emotions. He lets everyone see his fragile self, and that's exactly where his strength comes from. Jimin knew that his journey would not always be easy, that perhaps in the future he would meet again with great fatigue, with the fears that had haunted him. But he is no longer walking alone. He has found a way to share that burden, both with the army and with the BTS members who are always by his side. Jungkook, especially, becomes the one who keeps in touch with her, making sure that her Hyung stays well. They often exchange short messages before concerts, sometimes just emojis. Sometimes it's just one simple phrase like, "Do your best, Hyung," but the meaning goes much deeper than it seems. After the tour, Jimin decided to write a special song that he dedicated to the army and to himself. The song is called "Still With You," a song about the journey back, about choosing to survive, about rediscovering the self that was lost. In the song, Jimin wrote lyrics that left many speechless.